In the meantime, there's so many conversations as this manhunt continues, so many different things that people are talking about. And one thing that we don't want to lose sight of is how do you talk to your loved ones when they're going through such a difficult period? Families that are grieving, families that are fearful. As we know right now, the suspect, 40-year-old Robert Card, is still on the run, and police, law enforcement, they continue their search efforts for him. We want to bring in right now Dr. Christine Silverstein, who is a author. She's also a peak performance coach. Thank you so much for joining us here, Christine. This is a very important topic, and we're glad to have you on.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Absolutely. So right now, families, kids in Maine and really beyond are very scared right now. A lot that is happening at the moment. Let's just begin with your general advice for them as we watch this manhunt continue.
Well, first of all, this is a really big shock for the people of Maine, simply because they thought their state was safe because they have low crime rates. As compared to New York City and as compared to Chicago. So this shock is really challenging for everybody, and it's making everybody frightened. And we think back and we say, well, maybe there's something that we could have done to protect our children. But when you look at the situation in Israel, and people live with bomb shelters in their homes, and they have practice runs in case of an emergency, they were even taken off guard. So you don't really know what to do. These situations occur all over the United States, in movie theaters, at concerts, in schools, colleges, kindergartens, and in places of worship. So it's ubiquitous in the United States, and we're trying to learn how to deal with it and how to talk to our children and teenagers.
Yeah, and you just touched on a really good point there, because that is something that we do keep going back to. You're right. Maine is one of the states across the country with lower crime statistics, lower homicide rates, and it just shows that this can happen anywhere. And you said it there too. Schools, movie theaters, grocery stores. Now we're seeing a bar and grill in a bowling alley. And it's really just sad that we live in a world right now where it feels like nowhere is ever 100% safe. Can you just talk about maybe the patterns that you've seen and the ways that this has really heightened the fear and anxiety of everyday life?
Well, the fact is that the people who are attacking, like in Israel, and also this shooter who is trained in military tactics, they take advantage of them by the element of surprise. So you're very vulnerable in the bowling alley, not expecting this to happen. And so you have no guard. One person I heard saw the shooter come in, and he crawled up inside the pin machine to save his life. And he was fortunate. So all of these fears, talking about what to do, what to say, and we have a crisis of mental health in this country to begin with teenagers, children, and young adults. And so they're just coming off COVID, and these things are all exacerbating the situation with the terrorism in our own homeland. So I think people don't know what to say. Who does? You know, what parent knows what to say? But when you are preparing to talk to your teens and your children about this attack, you need to step back and look at your own feelings first. It's very important as an adult, because you're going to be the leader. You're going to be the person who is the role model. So when you're approaching a teen, for example, you have to first look at your own emotions and feelings relating to this shooting before you approach your teen. And this is because we have actually a phenomenon that's been known for many decades, and it's called empathic transmission of anxiety. So when we as adults are anxious and our emotions are very at a high level, we transmit how we feel to the person we're talking to, and that could be our teenagers. So we need to really settle down to know what we're going to say and put ourselves in the shoes of the children, of the teenagers, and to understand what they're experiencing, what their lived experience is, so that we can know what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what did they see at this event if they were present, what did they hear, and also to help them put things into perspective if there are some misconceptions. And the next thing to do is to allow them to express their feelings and thoughts without censoring. So to be in the present moment, it's very important to be in the present moment when you're talking to your children.
Sure.
And
And
there
you
are other
bring,
things you can do
oh no,
as well.
please go ahead and continue on there. You're giving some great advice here.
Okay, thank you. So, at any rate, there are many things that you can do to tell your children you love them, to tell your children that they are safe, and to give them hugs. And really, right now, there's a lockdown, so it limits reaching out to healthcare professionals, maybe in the community. So, you need to do the homework in your own home. So, right now, to just prepare them for getting back to their schedules and also going to vigils and prayer meetings where they can really respect those victims as a community and start building up relationships to help everybody move forward. And also know that there is something that they can do to help their teens, particularly. And that is because teens are naturally resilient. Although we don't often think of them that way, they are really able to expand their minds during this growth period. So they have amazing brains. The left side and the right side are growing linkages. And during this time, they develop skills like using imagery, like using visualization. And that's actually the work that I do to help them to heal through trauma. So, so know that there is hope that the teens, once they have proper care and respect in the schools, we're talking about that, keeping it open, then we'll see progress. And also, the hope is the Gen Zs who are talking about it right now, they are our future. They're helping us to move forward. So we have no more gun violence.
Sure, and that's some really great advice there. You know, everybody is feeling the impacts, whether you live near or far. But I also want to talk about families and teens who might have friends either that were maybe at the bowling alley, that were physically potentially there. As we know, it was youth night when this tragedy occurred. So maybe if there was someone that was there as a witness, someone who knows someone that was there, the ways that this is more personally impacting people, what's your advice to them?
Well, of course, if they were there, and that's why I said you need to really understand from their point of view, what do they experience, and let them talk about it, because these things will stay as a trauma if it is not worked on and healed. And I know that from my own personal experiences with having many miscarriages, and I thought that I got over the trauma of that. And I used to wake up at night and see the whole experience all over again until I healed from it. So I would also suggest that parents are vigilant at night when they're having dreams and they wake up and the reality is that there was this shooting and that some of the friends may have passed on. So to know, to be right there present and listen to what they're saying. This is the grieving period, which they really haven't even started because there's no vigils or community experience. But it will take some time to get through that. And then you can work on them later, some months down the road, to really work on the actual trauma to release it before it settles into the unconscious and it creates challenges in the future with the experience coming back and preventing you from moving forward in your life. So definitely those in the bowling alley need hugs and feel safe, and they might feel a little guilt that they lived and their friends didn't. So that's all part of the caring, and the community will come together. I think that will help after the suspect is caught.
Yeah, Dr. Silverstein, you're bringing up a lot of really great points here. I feel like we've touched on a lot of this, especially as this manhunt continues. Is there anything else that you would like to address? Obviously, you've done such extensive work on this. You are an author as well. Any other final thoughts?
Well, I think we need to trust in our teens, particularly. They are resilient. We just have to show them as adults what to do and guide them and give them some credit, because usually in this society, we think that teenagers have risky behaviors. We don't give them credit to talk on their level. And they're the most favorite group of people that I work with. So I'm a very big advocate of listening to teenagers and young adults to help us move forward as a nation, to see what's really of value for us, like our environment, like our healthcare system, which is lacking greatly, especially in mental health. We need to improve that so that we can have healthy lives, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Absolutely. So important. Dr. Christine Silverstein joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome.